SUPERFANATICS, comic books, friends, fun discussion, video show. SUPERFANATICS, 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 comic books, friends, fun discussion, video show.
Hey there, welcome to another episode of SUPERFANATICS. I'm Nicholas.
I'm Bender, and today is a very special episode. This is our Young Animals first issue showcase, which is kind of a mouthful, but I'm really excited about this episode. So let's just dive right in.
Let's dive in. What is Young Animal?
Young Animal is a brand new, they call it an imprint, or in this case a pop-up imprint at DC Comics. Much like Vertigo, which is kind of comics that exist in the DC universe, but sort of on the outskirts, Young Animal is very much the same thing. Why this is so special to me is that Gerard Way, the former lead singer of My Chemical Romance, my favorite band ever, is the curator of Young Animal. He basically runs the whole show, and this imprint was created by DC for him.
And if that worries you, if you're an emo guy, Gerard Way, before My Chemical Romance was a thing, was in the industry.
He was. He
is a lifelong comic book guy, so
yeah.
Don't worry. He's not a poser just trying to cash in. This is like his deal.
This is his dream. He's said in interviews that this is really his true passion, and that the music and the band even kind of happened by accident. So Gerard Way is finally doing what he feels like, or what his dream is, and I love that, and I appreciate it and respect it. So to jump right in, let's just go in chronological order.
Yeah, the first release of the Young Animal imprint was Doom Patrol #1.
That's right.
And Doom Patrol was written by Gerard himself. So he launched the imprint with a book that he wrote, and he's a great writer. I've read some of his stuff before this. He did Umbrella Academy. He did
Killjoys. True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys, which was a follow-up to My Chemical Romance's final album.
Yeah, and then he also did one that might kind of fly under the radar a little bit. It was just one book during the Spider-Verse story that they were doing in Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah, about the sort of the mech Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did write that, which is really cool.
And he has a very unique style, and it carries over into this book, and it's great.
Yeah. Doom Patrol is a cast of characters that has existed before in the DC universe, as with many of the Young Animal characters. But Gerard is sort of reviving the Doom Patrol from obscurity. Which
is what he's doing with basically a lot of characters you're going to see pop up in Young Animal.
Right.
He was scouring the depths of DC's pantheon to try and find these characters that have been forgotten and bring new life to them. So,
Doom Patrol for me, I think the first issue, based on the first issue alone, this is a weird-ass book.
It is. It's one that kind of jumps around from the main story of the book that kind of follows Casey Brink and Sam. They're both EMTs, and they start you out right in the middle of, I guess, them doing an EMT run, and that's how Young Animal begins.
Yeah. There's a lot of other weird things going on. There's a world inside of a Euro. They kind of jump to things unrelated to the story, like what's going on with Niles Calder.
It's just a guy sitting there in
a
front
wheelchair.
Of some like a synthesizer or something, plugging things in. And you get one page of it, and then it's not mentioned for the rest of the book. So
it's a weird book, but definitely one that I think is going to grow with issues. You know, with as the series continues, it'll kind of fall into place.
It'll be one of those things where everything that you might see during the first issue of Doom Patrol that seems so random and out of nowhere, over time, I think you'll understand them. They'll be part of bigger stories.
Right.
And they'll give you a glimpse into them here and there. But there is, like I said, the main story of Doom Patrol, and I guess what happens in issue 1 is Casey and Sam go out on a call. They watch a robot get exploded by a truck that drives by. Casey picks up the robot's parts, takes them home, and then her roommate gets blown up by Terry Nunn, who tells her she's her new roommate now.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how it starts. So I guess in this episode, we'll maybe go a little more in-depth than usual as far as spoilers go, just because we're just starting with issue 1 here.
Yeah, it's just
we're not going to ruin anything, but
moving right along, the second release from Young Animal is Shade the Changing Girl, written by Cecile Castellucci.
Or
I'm going to butcher that name. I don't know.
Cecil Seaskull, as she was known. She was in some, I guess you'd call them like 90s girl alt rock bands. She was in Bite and also Nerdy Girl, and that was her musician name, was Cecil Seaskull.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Features art by Marley Zarcone, who's also done some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
And color by Kelly Fitzpatrick, who does the DC Bombshells, Constantine, and has worked on Bitch Planet. Much like Doom Patrol, again, for me, Shade, based on just issue 1, also a very weird comic. Not in a bad way. It's just very out there, and they play, but it's really cool. They play with a lot of colors, a lot of sort of concept mapping of the pages and things like that.
Very inventive layouts, and
which is something that Gerard has said that he really wants to bring into his imprint, is different things, inventive ways. The cover of Doom Patrol #1, this Euro, if you can see, it's a peel-off sticker. I'm not going to peel off the sticker on mine, but it is one, which is cool. It's different. It's interesting. The basic story of Shade is there's a girl, Megan Boyer, and she's been in an accident. Then an alien named Loma steals an M-Vest, or a Maraco. The original Shade the Changing Man, Rack Shade, his M-Vest, steals it and inhabits the body of Megan Boyer and wakes her up in the hospital.
And the comic is kind of following her friends and family and their reaction, because she's been basically brain dead for 5 months after this accident.
Right.
Then she's inhabited by a cosmic being, and she's back, but she's fucking weird because apparently it takes a while to get used to driving a new body when you try and possess it. So they kind of go into that a little bit, but not a whole lot is given away in issue 1. Again, it's up in the air as to what's going to happen in this story.
Yeah.
What
But
it's all about.
it's fun, and I think that this is definitely the most colorful comic, the most interesting to look at.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to keep it going. Next
we have Cave Carson Has a Cybernetic Eye, and the story is that Cave Carson has a cybernetic eye.
It's so great.
He does. He has a cybernetic eye. He's you're not really told why he has one or how he got it.
But he has one, and everyone is aware that he has one.
Yeah, his daughter knows about it.
Yeah.
She's talking about it at one point when they're having a meal together.
And speaking of that meal, about the only thing you're told about it is that it is constantly scanning things.
Yeah.
And he knows things, but that's about...
But it seems like it's
all
mysterious to him, too.
It is, yeah.
So that's a little thread that they're putting down for you to start following, is I think maybe it's going to be about him trying to figure out where his cybernetic eye came from or how he got it. I don't know. But we'll see.
This book is written also by Gerard Way in association with John Rivera.
Who, interestingly enough, I was looking and I couldn't find a single writing credit for him before this book.
Oh.
So, I mean, that's a pretty good gig if that's his first thing that he's doing is co-writing a book with Gerard Way.
There's art by Michael Avon Owning, colors by Nick Filardi. I really like this book because it shows a different side of Gerard Way's writing style. You get this really, really oddball, weird book with Doom Patrol, but then Cave Carson really kind of follows more coherent story.
A more traditional narrative, just kind of, here's your
Right.
beginning and you follow it to the end.
You're coming in on Cave Carson, who has recently lost his wife, and it's obvious that he's dealing with that and that he's struggling, and his daughter is struggling, and so it's quicker paced, it's a lot easier to understand, and there's a lot of information in issue 1, but it's
you're
really cool.
And you're not getting those strange cut-ins of a story that's complete non sequitur.
Right.
That
It's
comes out of
all
nowhere.
it's a continual story throughout the book.
Yeah.
And I think it's a testament to Gerard Way's power as a writer and his talent.
Except the only extra you get in this one is at the end, the last 3 pages or so is a feature from Tom Scioli, and it's a superpowers feature that you get in the back. And it's drawn in a really cool style that he does. A lot of people compare his work to Jack Kirby's. So if you're a fan of a classic comic book style, you'll love this part, and you'll love the work that he did on Transformers versus G.I. Joes.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to more of these features as well.
Yes. Finally, the 4th and final release, which came out last week, I believe.
Yeah.
My favorite book of these 4, Mother Panic. This book is written by Jody Hauser, and it has art by Tommy Lee Edwards. The cool thing about this book is it is set in Gotham, so I feel like it's the most familiar book if you're just starting out reading comics, or if you're just trying to break into Young Animal. This is going to feel the most familiar.
Because, again, all these books are taking place within the DC universe, just on the outskirts of it.
Right.
So it's not like a what-if type of deal. This stuff's actually happening, but it doesn't really feel like you're in the mix of the rest of the DC books. This one kind of does, though. Mother Panic does, because you, as Bender said, you're familiar with Gotham, and you see Batman.
Yeah, for 2 panels, Batman does appear. This is the first character that was created for Young Animal. Mother Panic is a brand new Batman character. She's badass. I mean, what else can you say, really?
I think this will be years from now, this will be a really highly sought after book to have.
Yeah.
Because I think Mother Panic's going to explode. I think she'll be an amazing character and probably play a big role in the DC universe at large.
I really see this character in particular, as strong as all of these books are. Mother Panic is probably the most marketable right off the bat, and definitely, yes, would fit in with the sort of mainstream DC universe most easily. I mentioned, we were talking earlier, and I mentioned how I would love to see a Mother Panic versus Batgirl sort of arc that's titled Batgirl, What You Gonna Do? So I would love to see that. I'm really excited that Batman shows up in the first issue, even for just the 2 panels that he does.
Yeah.
I feel like it really grounds it, though, in a relevant universe.
And Mother Panic is a young girl. Her name is Violet Page. What you know about her is that as a she's a young woman in this book. As a young girl, she loses her father to a hunting accident, and her mother is not capable of parenting her when she gets early onset Alzheimer's. So she has to go to an experimental boarding school that you're told is called the Gather House, and it's on the outskirts of Gotham. They really don't tell you much more, except that when she comes back 10 years later, the media is following her around. You get an idea that her parents were successful, and there's a reason to be kind of following her to see what she's up to. She's really into the party scene. She's brash. She's got a bad attitude.
Yeah. And
she's Mother Panic.
Yeah. And I don't want to give away too much, but I love Gala. That's all I'm going to say, but I love Gala.
Another neat thing about this first issue is it's basically an origin story done very briefly, but you're not given any information as to where she gets her superhuman strength, which it says she has, She has like a flying vehicle,
jet ski almost,
something like that. Yeah, and she's got a badass suit.
One of the coolest costumes in recent memory.
But you don't know where any of it comes from.
No.
So
So it's going to be really awesome to see where this book goes.
yeah.
So that is our Young Animal issue 1 highlight.
And you know, all of these, they have like a million different variants. So
Check it all out.
yeah.
And be sure to tune in next week. Hopefully we'll be able to bring you Old Man Logan. And until then, I'm Bender.
I'm Nicholas.
See you later.